Hey, I'm Dani.
And I'm Adam.
And this is the Play Your Best podcast.
We're a husband and wife team, faith-filled parents, wellness coaches, and the founders of DNA Fitness and the Live Long Collective.
And this show is all about helping you live long and live well and becoming the best, healthiest version of yourself, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Each week, we'll break down real-life strategies to build lasting health, stronger habits, deeper relationships, and a faith-filled mindset that equips you to show up fully in every area of your life.
So if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just tired of starting over, welcome. You're in the right place.
Let's help you play your best. Hey everybody, my name is Adam and I'm here with my wife,
Dani.
And we're coming with another episode of Play Your Best. And tonight's episode is going to be focused on something very, very powerful. And that is the hidden cost of distraction in our lives and how it pulls away from not just our energy, but our relationships and our connection to others and our pursuit of being the best version of ourselves in all of the goals that you set before you. So with that being said, we are excited about this episode and we are going to kick it off.
Nice. So I think this is a huge one because it hits home personal for us and the people that we get to coach. So I thought you could start out by telling them like how your mind works and how you kind of like a little bit of disorder, but how it could kind of take you off too far.
Yeah. So, well, I think when we're talking about distraction, like what my wife is talking about is like, I'm not wired the way that like a type A personality would be, where you structure everything and you put everything in your calendar and you follow a sequence and patterns and processes and all that stuff. So not to say that that's not a beneficial thing for me. I know that when I do get in the routine of doing those things, like I move better, right? I move forward easier. It's just not natural for me. It's not organic for me. It takes a lot of work. But I think when we're talking about distractions, like, you know, like the first thing that I would like to address is like, why do we get distracted, right? If things are so important to us, our families, our goals that we set, the things that we want to achieve in life, if those things are so important to us, then what is it that causes us to distract ourselves from pursuing those things?
Yeah, I think that often it's just subconscious, and we're just, what's the quick fix and what feels good right away, and we're not even aware. And so often it's what is harder or more work in our minds we won't really tend to, and then we kind of give into what's easy and fast. So scrolling or sending a text message or listening to another podcast or watching a YouTube video is like more information or likes or communication with someone on a message is a lot of stimulation for your brain. And so that can be like dopamine hits, right? Versus something like I gotta go cook dinner so I can have organized for the week, or I gotta go shopping, right? Like that might be in my mind like a lot.
You know overwhelming,
right?
Right?
Overwhelming, there you go.
Yeah. So I think you nailed it right on the head, that like when we feel overwhelmed by the task that we need to do, we tend to distract ourselves from doing that task and justifying that we need to learn about this thing or we have to figure out this other thing first, right? And we pull our attention away from the thing that's most important to do something of lesser importance.
And I don't even think sometimes we're even aware that we're doing it. It's just the next thing. If it's on, like, the best thing that we could do is not have such easy access to whatever it is, So if it is, like, I tend to like to go on YouTube, right? And so if I can just get it off my phone, or it's not so easy to tend to, so it's not even like a thought, So to make things a little more difficult to get to, it's a big help.
Absolutely. So what do you think that the cost of distraction is? Because that's, I think, the whole title of this episode is like, what's the hidden cost of distraction? Because so often we don't even think about it, right? But if we look at movement forward, if we look at connection with other people, and then we throw the distractions of the world in there, whether it's our own selves getting distracted, or maybe you're a high profile individual, or you got a business to run and there's things coming at you in every direction that are distracting you from the thing that you need to be doing. And if you don't set things up properly, you can easily get pulled in different directions and not get to the things that are most important. And you end up distracted from doing those things. And sometimes, I'm speaking like in terms of myself, like sometimes I don't even get back to those things. I forget that I was going to do this thing. Obviously, because I don't put everything in my schedule and I'm not very systematic like that. So if you don't have things written down on what you need to get done and you get distracted, then when you're like, oh, what was I doing? Now you totally forgot what you were doing, and things lapse.
Yeah. So
looking at like distractions in general, like what are some of the things that you think people would be losing? What would be stolen from people because they allow themselves to get distracted?
Well, the top one is time, like we don't get that back. And you have a slot time for the day and everybody has the same amount of time. And so if we spend, it adds up. If you look at your phone and how much time we actually spend on it, you can look on there. It can be a lot, or it can be, there was a season where like how much time did we spend training? It was like, what? Work on business? Let's train more. And we're distracted by training. So it's not just your electronics. It could be anything. It's whatever your body finds or you find pleasure doing, and whatever is costly you might tend to avoid, right? It could be with food. It could be with anything. We can distract ourselves doing anything. But I think the biggest thing is time, and then reaching, we always talk about that with our community, is like our full potential. It's living without without the lights on and just an automation, just like auto running, right? It's just running those old habits and not being intentional and being on and choosing and letting just your habits and your mind run. And at the end of the day, I don't think my day is as fulfilling when I do that versus a day where I had my top 3 and I just lived on purpose. Like, I feel different at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's why I've talked about before on here, like when I do put the locks on the apps and I do have more order in my life, at the end of the day, I go to sleep and like, wow, I had a lot more deep intention with my children and how I was parenting, or, things like that, versus just scrolling by and just passing by, I guess it's better said.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I think a lot of times people lose is peace. It's kind of like this double-edged sword, right? Because I can totally attest to this. I've done it myself. It's like you're busy and you got a lot of things going on and you're doing a lot, and you get to this place where you feel overwhelmed because there's so many things to do. And you're looking at everything, so you distract yourself, and then time goes by. You don't get that time back. Nothing gets done. All of those things are still there. and then you come back, right? And maybe, yeah, like you put on a YouTube video or something and you're watching something motivational, and yeah, you feel peace because you're not thinking about all of the things that you needed to get done. Or maybe there's some things that are like on a time limit that are overdated, and you didn't get them done in time, but they still need to get done, and you distract yourself from doing them. You have this moment of peace, but then when you come back, now you're even more anxious.
Yeah.
And you've lost more time, right? As opposed to just, figuring out what's the most important thing that needs to get done, and start tackling one thing at a time and trying to not overwhelm yourself in that way, right? Because it's all got to get done. None of it's going anywhere, but you don't got to do it all at once, right? We trick ourselves to thinking like, if I don't get everything done all at once, then it's going to be bad. Well, it's probably going to be bad anyway, so might as well just start chopping one thing away at a time and do a better job at it all. And don't distract yourself, right? You'll get done with it a lot faster.
Yeah, I think one is like, we try to break it down and make it easy. And so it's figure out first, like, what are your go-to, like, kryptonites, how you say it?
Yeah.
Like, what is your go-to given? Like, what do you go to do to avoid what the hard things, right? And start with one, maybe start with three, depending on your personality. I would say 3 is a really good place to start. And then take that out. Like we've talked about this before, but like get it out, get it away. If it's the food, like you go and get distracted by food or something. If you work at home, often we hear like, oh, I go to my kitchen and I start eating, and it's like, It's like, okay, well, that's a thing. So maybe you don't work from home, or maybe you go to a shop where you have your meal, or like you have certain solid meals. So like you got to know what the issue is. And then once we've addressed it and say, okay, this is going to stop. Why do I want it to stop? Right? And then let's create it to where it's really hard to get to or get rid of it. Right? And so that's a major step. And then from there, we can move on to what you're talking about, which is more like making sure, like a positive thing, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like productivity.
Yeah, then we can get there. So first, like, why do we want to do this, right? I want my time back. I want to be successful. This is how it feels.
Yeah.
And then we get rid of the things, and then we say, okay, what are the 3 things? That's what I was going to say. What are the 3 things that we are going to tackle today or this week? Like, I love, as it was life-changing for me, is that, I won't remember now, the book. There's a book, and you'll probably say it'll come to your head, but he was like, every week, at the end of the week, we'd sit down on Sundays with my wife, and we would talk about, like, what went well, what needs work, and what can I do better, and then talk about the week.
Yeah.
I think, like, I'm a type A person, so I'm the opposite of him, and I thrive on that, right? And so if you could do that for yourself and look at your week and say, what do I need to do? And if you're not, and you do it another way, then maybe you got advice for them. But that helps you move the needle forward, I think, in not getting distracted.
Yeah, for sure. The way that I do things, I don't think there's any advice on that. Like, I'm just trying to improve myself every day and get better. So systemizing things in your life and being reflective and then brutal honesty, I think is number one.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you have to be brutally honest with yourself, and you got to get over the wishy-washy kind of I'm soft and I can't take no harshness, right? Because if you want to like round the edges out on everything, then you're really not gonna make a difference, right, for yourself. I like what I mean by that is to be able to sit and say, you know what, this week I wasted 5 hours looking at Instagram or YouTube or shorts or something like that. Like, I totally distracted myself and I spent 5 hours, and that sucks. And I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna reflect on it, and I'm gonna ask myself specific questions. What did it cost me? What did I lose
What are you
because I wasted
avoiding?
that? What was I avoiding? What could I have gotten done if I didn't do that? And start to ask those hard questions to yourself, right? Because oftentimes we want to avoid that. We want to feel good, and feeling good all the time doesn't create change, right? Pain creates more change often than the other way. So, be reflective, be brutally honest with yourself, and from there you can then start to make changes, because you'll be like, okay, I don't want to keep doing this to myself.
Yeah. And I think also like the whole process of our thinking too is like it seems boring to like sit still, and like not do anything. But our brains really need that. And we're in this culture. It's like and it's like the information era, right? It's like
Yeah.
more and more. We got to know more, and there's this next thing, and you got to stay up to date, and then this and that, and it drowns you, and it's overwhelming, and it's overstimulating, and so I think an amazing practice is just starting with a small amount of time and being in quiet, right? And the spiritual practice of that is amazing. Like the stillness, like we it's so important. I really believe so.
Yeah, I think what happens
But your
when
brain doesn't want it,
yeah, of course, like because we've been trained that way. Um, you know, I think we were designed in a way that we need to have rest, right? We need to have a disconnect from the activities of the world and the careers and all of that stuff. We obviously were Christians, and we just heard a message 2 weeks ago on the Sabbath day, right? And it's like setting apart a day of just focusing on our Creator God and not doing anything else. And then to start asking those questions. Okay, well, what is God really calling us to stay away from? Right? He's calling us to stay away from everything. Right? Now, obviously, when you read the Bible, you see these times where the Pharisees were going up against Jesus, and they're like, oh, well, they're picking from the trees and stuff. And, the Sabbath doesn't remove showing mercy to people, right?
Yeah, you said everything, so it's like service or mercy, right? Like,
yeah. So like, if you're outside and you're enjoying God's creation, and somebody is like drowning in the water, it's not like, don't go save them because it's the Sabbath. Nothing. It's like, no, you like show mercy to other people, or but to really just disconnect from all the world, like there's a supernatural power to doing that reorients our focus to the week ahead. And I think it helps to eliminate distractions and really hone in on focus, right? Because when we do that, we're more centered around God's will as opposed to our own. So yeah, that's what my thoughts on that. But I definitely think that taking a fast from whatever it is that causes you to get distracted. Like if you're distracted and you look at your screen time and you're on YouTube for 10 hours a week or something, then you should probably figure out a way to get that off of your phone. Because 10 hours a week of your life looking at other people doing stuff that's not helping you in any way.
Well, I think even more powerful is like if you have a desire to get other things done, but then you see like, oh, if you reflect and you see, 10 hours, then it's like, okay, well, then let's make a plan. Let's get it off so then I can cut back 3 hours, right? Maybe. Yeah. And then those 3 hours, what am I going to do? Because whatever you don't feel or plan can totally just disappear to something else. Something else to figure out. So like really try to orient and plan. Okay, these 3 hours, what am I going to get done? And I know some people aren't more structured, but it does really help to have a plan with that time. and maybe start with 3 hours or something like that.
Yeah. So when we think about these distractions, like what are some, like obviously you just said, you gave us one, like, planning what you're going to do around the time at which you eliminate the distraction, or like when you're analyzing or auditing, that's the word I'm looking for. When you're auditing your day and you see you are distracted at 1 o'clock, and if you see a pattern, that usually around that time, it's like maybe that's your downtime and you just want to like, let go or whatever. And you want to change that. Planning is a great way, like, because if you don't plan, then you're probably just going to fall back to your device. So what about some other ways that you think are powerful for people to help overcome them getting distracted?
I think we talked about some of them, like really being connected with the why and what they're doing. Like if you feel like your relationships are struggling and you're usually distracted on your phone, right? Like often even with our kids. And it's like, let's set time apart and really seek one another. So I think it really depends on like knowing the deeper why, and then getting rid of the distraction, and then having a system. So I think I went over what I believe and what I think.
Yeah. So there was a one tab rule. Do one thing at a time. I like this quote. It says, "Be where your feet are." Right? How many of you that are listening to this right now, if you were to go and open up your computer or your laptop, when your screen pops open, whether it's Safari or Google or whatever, how many tabs are open at the top of your screen?
Yeah.
At any given time, you could go on my computer and there's probably 10 tabs open, right? It's like Canva and all of these different programming things. It's like a lot of different tabs. And those things are distracting, right? So if you can focus on what you need to get done for the day, prioritize them in order of importance, and then just do that one thing until it's completed, and then close that tab out and open a new tab and start working on whatever that next thing is. There's a great book called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Eat That Frog. And it's the idea that like most people don't do the most important things because the most important things are the biggest things, and they think that they can get more done because they do all these small meticulous things. They have no needle moving parts to them, right? They don't move the needle. It's like, let me just plug in the numbers on my QuickBooks real quick, right? But that doesn't grow the business. That just gets the numbers over to the auditor or whatever, or the accountant. So it's like, what are the big things that need to get done? Let's knock those things out first, get them out of the way. Because if we leave those till the end of the day, we're typically going to be tired, we're going to be distracted, and we're not going to get to them. So one thing at a time. We talked about having like a mini fast or something from the actual thing, whether it's
I think that's like critical, and I want to talk about that. Like if you feel your insides like arguing, like I can't do that, or why would I do that? Like even when we talked about in our small group about the rest, it was like people got really tight. Like what? And about certain topics that we were talking about specifically. But that is good. Like be really curious, like we talk about, and don't just give in to that thought, like, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or oh no, I need that. And just like pay attention to all these signs. And then, but like out of I always do that, like over here, pay attention and ask yourself why. And like really challenge yourself to fast from it. Like you should be able to fast from anything. Yeah. Really. So yeah.
And if you can't fast from a thing, for a reasonable amount of time, I'm not talking about for like 1 hour or 2 hours, then that thing you are a slave to.
Yeah, just start getting curious. Ask yourself so you can find out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you say it nicely. I'm not very nice when
No,
I
it's
say
true. It is like you are a slave
it's
to
like
it.
we are slaves to things,
Yeah.
right? And that's
Yeah.
that's the truth of
Yeah.
it. And we should not be a slave to anything. We should have the discipline to say no to a thing whenever we feel that thing is a vice to us, or it's becoming something that is stopping us from moving towards our goals. Yeah. So this was another one that was good for relationships, I think, in connection to other people, because this happens often, especially for me, is like presence, right? My wife needs my presence a lot, and I far too often don't give it to her a lot the way that she needs it or deserves it. And when we were talking about like some of the things that we wanted to speak about in this episode, this one came up. Is like connection is like getting all distractions away and giving the person the attention, and looking them in the eyes, and it's not even that you're, because you can be distracted when you're talking to somebody without having a phone in your hand, or without the TV being on or something else happening, right? You can be distracted here in your head, right? So figuring out how you can get all of the junk out of your head, out of your mind, and just give the person 100% of your attention, so that you know that they are the most important thing to you in that moment. And that is a practice, like yoga, like everything else, right? It's like you're probably going to suck at it. You're probably going to stare at somebody for 5 seconds. If you're not good at it, you'll stare at somebody for 5 seconds and you'll start thinking about something else.
Yeah.
While they're talking to you.
Yeah.
So start practicing it and see how you do. Because connection is such an important role in humanity, and ultimately in our own fulfillment as humans, right? Like if you're alone for long enough time, you're gonna be depressed. That's just,
like research shows it's like more than even depression. It's like your
yeah.
health.
We saw it with COVID, right? When people were locked down in their homes and they couldn't connect with people.
Yeah, but the research shows like their health, I think, deteriorates and all this stuff.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get some data on that stuff next time. Start talking
But
about
it's funny though, because like we're around, like with the phones, it's like this facade, and people have a harder time now connecting. Like real deep connection, like really getting to know that person. So, if it feels uncomfortable, I would say also get curious and like be willing to let it be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And know that it'll get better too.
Yeah. So, recap: distractions, got to get rid of them. They steal our time, they steal our productivity, they steal our relationships, they steal everything from us. How do we get rid of them? We need to be reflective. We need to look at our day. We need to audit our focus, like really take an in-depth audit of what we're putting our attention and our focus on. Creating boundaries, you talked about that, creating boundaries around our focus and our attention. Doing one thing at a time, we talked about that. Many fasts from different things that are stealing our attention and distracting us from the world, or from the things that are important to us.
And keep like you said, like auditing or like course correcting, and ask people like Ask your family for feedback, or the people that are close to you, you know? We don't like that. But why?
Definitely don't like that.
But why?
Yep.
Why? Like, you want to be the best version of yourself, the people that are around you that care about you the most. Like, no. And if you're still struggling, like, join our community. Like, if you're still struggling, hire a coach, because I don't think that we should just stay stuck or stay with the same story, because guess what? 2 years are going to go by, 5 years are going to go by, and we're going to be struggling with the same thing, you know?
Yep.
So if you notice it and something stands out to you in this, like, take action. And if it feels difficult, like, we'd love to help you.
Yeah. So awesome episode. We want to challenge you this week, right? Right now, figure out one thing that draws your attention away from the things that are most important, and and eliminate it. Get it out. Figure out a way that you're gonna fast from that. Create some space. Plan what you're gonna do in the time that you normally would distract yourself. Or anytime that you would get distracted, figure out something you're going to do instead. Maybe do some kind of exercise, right? That'd be a great option, right? So you can focus on getting healthier. Or maybe it could be a time where you meditate or read a Bible or call someone up that you love and give them your undivided, focused attention. And
like a positive step.
Yeah. So you can start doing these things. Because distraction costs us everything. And if you guys want to live to your fullest potential, we want you to. You got to get these distractions out of your life. And we know
live
you
awake.
guys.
Like, live on purpose, you know? Like, wake up.
Yeah. Live awake. I love that. Live awake. Don't live sleeping. And 99% of our population is living asleep, right? Take the red pill. See how far that rabbit hole goes. It's a fun one. We hope you love this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.